It's fine. And we're live. Hello, welcome everybody. How have you been?
Hello.
Azure's back. He's been missing.
Yay. I know. I was abducted by my family.
I figured it had to be something like that.
Hmm
Because I'm like, there's only two reasons why Azure has been busy. Work or family. And I'm like, and I'm betting it's the family thing.
hmm You ever have a funeral and then right afterwards have a birthday party?
Oh god.
Because I have.
Oh god. That must have been a time. That must
There
have.
was there was a lot of wine being drunk. I don't remember most of it.
Oh, you got blackout drunk.
Hmm
Hello,
I
hello,
mean,
turtle.
the person who had that wine isn't going to need it anymore. She,
uh,
she's been dead since March. I can make that joke.
it's true. I mean, when my when my great grandmother died, pretty much everybody was like, should we be sad? She's been telling us her whole life that this was gonna be her last Christmas. Every year. So we were like,
It's like we should be happy because she finally called it right.
yeah.
It was kind of the same with my grandmother. She was the one who passed, and like it was very much a she was perfectly aware. It happened very quickly. She didn't suffer. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
one of those life things. And like after it was done and we had the funeral, we were just able to just like sit back and say it's like she had a good life, and we're happy that she went peacefully.
Just think, she gave birth, and therefore all of you are here, and that is what you must be thankful for.
hmm And she had 6 grandchildren, which she would brag about to her friends because apparently family size was a competition to her.
It is. It's a big competition. You don't understand. You don't understand.
I'm starting to.
Uh, anyway, so you're probably wondering what we're all doing here because it's been such a long fucking time since we've done TMI. Uh,
Is that what
hello.
this is?
Yeah, this is.
I thought we were doing our Pokemon Nuzlocke.
Oh, what are you talking about, Azure? There was no Pokemon Nuzlocke. It never happened. Not even for a second.
I remember Anakin dying.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're
Which is
talking
which is
about.
ironic because Hayden Christensen's in the new Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Yeah, I think you must be having a fever dream. You were just so obsessed with Star Wars that you thought we were playing a Star Wars themed Pokemon game.
Yeah, look, Star Wars and Star Trek are both airing like simultaneously right now. I'm sure that there's some kind of like weird crossover going
Yeah,
on.
there's gotta
Fucking
be a
with the
weird
fucking with the
crossover.
timeline.
I mean, Pokemon has done weird crossovers before, so.
Hmm.
Anyway, so TMI, it's I guess we could call it a podcast if we want. So even though there are visuals sometimes that go with it.
hmm
Uh,
That would imply that we have the talent to be podcasters.
yeah, that would imply that we're good at this. And that we don't get up topic every 2 seconds. Wait, isn't that what podcasts are? Anyway.
I've listened to some more. I'm starting to think it's not. I don't think we can use that excuse anymore.
True. So we talk about Type Moon stuff. And if you're wondering what stuff it means, like the Fate franchise, I guess we can talk about Tsukihime again because that exists now. And any other,
10 years in the making.
yeah, and any other series that goes in. What I love about Type Moon is the fact that they announce something and then they give you no information until it's time for the game to drop. So,
So it'll probably be like 2030 when we finally get Fate Extra, the remake.
hope I'm gonna hope it's sooner than that since it's being handled by their newer studio that's just handling video games. And when I say video games, it means, well, I guess that could be one of the topics. So, Type Moon is a multimedia franchise, more or less. if I had to compare, Type Moon is basically the Japan version of DC and Marvel, as in they have
Yep.
their thingies in many things that many different types of things. They have different writers, different artists, different everything. And
Except the characters are all public domain, so they don't have to pay royalties to anyone. It's actually kind of ingenious.
Yeah.
Although I guess that only applies to Fate.
Yeah. So so a lot of stuff is created, and over the past couple of years, it's pretty much blown up. I would say. When me and Azure first met, and kind of like started expanding our horizons in the Type Moon universe, we could say that there definitely wasn't as many fans as there is now, and there's definitely wasn't as many animes as there is now.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even know what Apocrypha was when I met you.
Yeah, I didn't even know what
Or
Apocrypha
Strange Fake.
And best thing is, nobody even knew that Sakura Saber in the English fandom was. I knew about it because I was a bit of a deep diver even back then. I didn't know the extent of what Sakura Saber and Demon Archer would become. They now have their own serious manga, by the way, which is done by the artist for Demon Slayer. If that is what's up your thing, you can read that.
I don't think that artist is doing anything else right now.
Yeah, so that's something you can check out if you're interested in Fate. I mean, hey, it's a very specific niche. If you're into a series that was once a joke comic that then got transferred into a serious comic that is now done by an actual serious artist, then...
So, Dragon Ball.
Yeah. Yeah, Dragon Ball, basically. But it's very interesting to go through, as someone who had actually looked at all of the comic panels, for the, Fate Gouda Gouda Order, comic. It's so interesting.
In the days of naked chippies.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see, like, how characters who are replacing people like Artoria and Ryder, because, you know, because it was a gag comic, they were still using characters from other franchises as master replacements, so they didn't have to come up with new characters. So it's interesting to see, like, the traits of characters. Like, for example, Shinji Mato, who was one of the things, because, you know, that's their punching bag for jokes in that comic. Shinji Mato, who was the master of Berserker, I believe, in that. It's interesting to see his character, who is an asshole, who looks pretty similar to him and has similar command seals. So, if you said that he was a part of what the Mato family would become, I would believe it. I would believe that he's part of the Mato family at that time point, but I don't think he is. But yeah, it's interesting to see, like, the blonde character who is Artoria, the sexy person who was replacing Medusa, Ryder, aka whatever. It's hard to pick which name I should call characters sometimes, because some characters are more known as their class than their name, which gets confusing.
And it varies from person to person.
Yeah, it varies person to person. Everybody's like, Saber, and I'm like, which one?
The sexy one. Which one? The one with all the fan art. Which one?
But yeah, Fate Redline. That's the name of that comic, if you want to go to it.
Red Saber. Which one?
Yeah, which Red Saber? But yeah.
It's like that Batman Beyond clip. It's like you have no idea how little that whittles it down.
Yes, the very, very little, very little. What else? Where was I going with this? Oh, so that, yeah, Fate Redline, that's a new thing. It was a gag when we first started. Now it's real. Now it's established, I guess. I don't know. Let's see, and then there's a bunch of other series. Fate Requiem, that's a thing that exists. I wish it was more like an online game than a light novel.
It has the premise for an online game.
Yeah, because it has the premise for an online game. And I don't think it really works properly as, I mean, I haven't had the chance to read it. Light novels are a little harder to get your hands on with translations than manga. So I haven't checked around too much. But it's mostly because I feel like, because while I liked the character in the crossover event, I think she's an interesting character. The problem thing is I don't think I would enjoy her as a main character, and from what I read on the Type Moon wiki, she sounds a lot like a Mary Sue.
What is this? Is it like that? She was the only character not to have a servant originally?
She was the only character not to have a servant, because I'm guessing it has to do with the plot twist about her background. I think it was revealed that she is the daughter of a servant master pair, and to make it worse, the servant was the one who gave birth to her. So, and if you know anything about servants, that makes no sense in the context of the entire Fate franchise for them to be able to reproduce. It just,
maybe this servant was the real Mary Sue.
Maybe indeed.
It's like, do you have the ability to reproduce? That makes you a Mary Sue.
Maybe indeed. But yeah, Fate Requiem. That's another newest series, and I think my thing dinged, so I think my food is here. Nicholas, go get the food. I mean, what?
Why were you calling out to my brother?
Because we have the same brother, remember? We're secretly related.
Wait, what? Is that part of our lore now?
No.
No. My brother's name is also Nick.
Yeah. Nick is just a very common name. Wait, never mind! It says it's still at the store, which is weird. This guy hasn't moved. Maybe it's taking a very long time for the food to get... I thought I heard my phone ding, so I thought it was here. Never mind! The dogs will let me know when it's here. The dogs will let me know. Anyway. So yeah, Fate Requiem, that's a thing. It exists. I think it would have worked better as like an online game or something rather than... But I guess it's because Natsu is full in on Fate Grand Order right now. That, of course, he doesn't have time to get another game going.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's in the plans, though. I have a feeling they have plans to do either a new mobile game or something. Because it's just a feeling I have because they've talked about it before. About them wanting to, like, do something new once they finish up the storyline of Grand Order, whatever the fuck that may be.
Do you think that they might do, like, and this is just me, just, like, throwing out random ideas. I could see maybe, like, one of those, like, online... Why are you moping?
What?
Your character is moping. Why are you moping?
I'm sorry, I was getting my phone. Oh, my DoorDasher is now on the way. Awesome.
Good.
Man, this DoorDasher is way better than the last couple I've had. One of them didn't even tell me that it was at the door.
I get the ones where it's like I tell them to like leave it at the door, but still knock, please. At least knock.
Yeah.
I don't get that. But
Anyway.
anyway, like I was saying, it's like I can imagine them like because I've seen this in so many online games, like the Hearthstone style card fighting.
Mm. You think they're gonna do a card fighting game next, or
Maybe.
that's what you're
I mean, I
saying?
don't know if they're gonna do it next, but I feel like that was something that would work with Fate.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like a really popular genre right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
With like Shadowverse and Elder Scrolls.
it's like I just have a feeling that they've got something in the plan because Natsu doesn't know when to take a break. Natsu needs to learn to finish a project before he goes on to another project because he can't write everything. And he shouldn't write everything.
He's just like us who have like all these drafts in our like unfinished drafts in like our Twitter thing.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, speaking of new series, there is actually a newer series that exists. And it's called Fate Lost Erenjar, Aslug of the Aurora, which it's centered around Bryn and Sigurd's daughter and Ragnar Lockbrook. And if Ragnar Lockbrook sounds familiar to any of you, I guess you've watched the the History Channel's TV show Vikings. So there's that. So that's out. Yeah, so that's out. The artist for Bryn, of course, the artist for Bryn and Sigurd's designer, is doing the art for that. And it is a novel series, and it exists, and it takes place in the 21st century Scandinavia. I think it's taking place, it's taking place in the same universe as Apocrypha. So, there's that.
The Nazi gold's hidden in Iceland.
Yep. So that is the most recent series for Fate, I think, because it just came out in 2000. Yep, just came out this year. But in non-Fate related stuff, we do now have Tsukihime redone, which this is why I also have to revisit the timeline because, surprise, new Tsukihime takes place in a parallel universe to old Tsukihime.
Well, of course, everything is a parallel universe in Fate.
Yeah.
Just because it's a remake doesn't mean it would replace the old one.
It's like, they're like, he's like, well, it's like, I want to do the new series that takes place in a different time period, even though these characters can't possibly be born in a different... It's fine.
Don't think about it. Shh.
It's fine.
Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Shh.
Don't think about how it works. It's fine.
It'll just make you mad. Shh.
It's fine. Anyway, Tsukihime 2021 is a thing. And I don't know how much has come out since then. I don't know if it's still just the first 2 chapters. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm like, well, Tsukihime is a thing that lets you choose which girl you want to be with, kind of. I say tentatively because basically it's just that each girl route is just a completely different story from one another.
It's going to end badly.
Yeah. So...
there are no happy endings in Tsukihime.
So like they have Ark's route and they have CL's completely redone route, which, like, wow. Like I only know like bits and pieces of it, but like it was really completely rewritten. They got rid of the bad guy who's pretty, and they replaced it with a different bad guy. And there's also Noel, who's probably gonna get her own route because you know every girl gets a route in Tsukihime, except for the one who really needs it. Poor Satsuki.
Is that Ponytail Girl?
Yeah, Satsuki. The
It's because I know nothing about Fate. I know a lot about Fate. I know nothing about Tsukihime.
mhm.
I just know that this character is important, and I know like what role they fill in your typical narrative,
Yep,
and I'm very curious about that.
yep. So there's that. But yeah. So for some reason, the new Tsukihime thing takes place in 2014 instead of 1999. I can only assume it's because that's when Natsu finally sat down and started writing it. But
It is already 7 years out of date.
yeah, so don't don't question it. Don't
You
think
ever
too
just
hard about the dates.
do you ever stop and think and realize that 2019 was 3 years ago,
Yeah, I do.
and then you wonder how?
And then I wonder when the fuck am I getting out of this constant state of living that I'm in? I want to live. I don't want to wear a mask at work anymore. JK, I have to regardless of COVID.
That sounds, yeah. You work in what is basically, you work what is basically in the service industry.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yep. Yep. Anyway,
That is a real bad trip.
mm. Whew, anyway, so yeah, Tsukihime, it's a thing that exists. They just dropped it out of nowhere, and we were like, you weren't even gonna, you didn't even have a week to like hype it up or anything. You're just gonna release the game? What the?
Well, I think they knew.
Yeah,
We were waiting for this thing to come out for like years and years.
yeah,
It's just like I think they thought it's like that God, what's his name, Todd from Bethesda Studios. It's like, have we waited long enough? I think we've waited long enough.
they're like, the world needs this more than ever. Releases Tsukihime novel. Hopefully we'll be able to enjoy it in English soon. I know Natsu eventually wants it on Steam, but I think it's stuck on Switch for the meantime, so that's what's kind of halting any translation of the game. Not for lack of effort, mind you. It's just Nintendo games are always a bitch to try to do something about, especially when they're newer consoles. So it's a pain in the ass to get the source files and translate them. Yep.
Yep.
But anyway, Grand Order still going strong. I don't know when the end is in sight. I think we're on the in JP. Coming up should be the last Lost Belt, and I want to say probably with the Lost Belt being over, that would may wrap up the story. Not to say that they probably won't still have like crossovers and, you know.
Well, I don't think that this last Lost Belt's going to be the end of Lost
No,
Belt.
no,
I
I
think
have
they're
a
going to
feeling.
do what's they're going to do like a Temple of Solomon thing and have like an additional chapter.
Yeah,
That's the actual finale.
Yeah. So there's probably gonna be another chapter after the Lost Belt because knowing now what we know, even on the English side, there's a character who has been revivified, and we're like,
Is it the character who always deserved better?
yeah, it is the character that always deserved
Good.
better. Who did
I'm
not,
happy. I'm happy for him or her.
yeah, they did not deserve to die in the prologue chapter. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And why are we talking like this? Well, because one, Grand Order is a free game. If you really want to know the story, you can just download
It's
it.
free and it's available in English.
It's free, available in English. We thought
And honestly, you only need to play through like the first hour to get to the point we're talking about.
yeah. So it's like it's really not hard. Plus, with the fact with how the servants are these days, they just implemented the strengthening card thing where you basically you haven't played it since whenever.
I understand like a little bit of what it is. Isn't it like an additional, like, isn't it almost like an equipment slot for
Yeah.
like different abilities?
Yeah. So So they just implemented that. So there's like, you guys can get through all of the first couple of chapters pretty easily at this point, because you can just borrow people's servants from the plethora of people who have millions of 5 stars at this point. People usually only put up their 5 stars more or less as as things you can borrow, and usually, and a lot of the time, some of the people are crazy and they have them at level 100, which is a bit of work. So I just usually stop at 90.
Yeah, that's kind of a way. You need 2 grails to get from level 80 to 90. You need 5 grails to get from level 90 to 100. Yeah. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I did that with Nero on my Japanese account, and I said never again.
Never again, guys.
I would not do that on my English account, and I never did.
Yeah, it's not worth it to use a grail to up people, unless you're using like a lower level. You want to make a I don't know, a bronze servant good, I guess.
Unless you love the character.
Unless you really love the character, like the voice actress of Guadaco likes red hair, and she grilled him to 5. She grilled him to gold. Well, at least he was a silver servant beforehand, so that's not terrible. Well,
I mean, you have servants like Cuckoo Lane who are worth grilling to like 80.
Yeah, so. But yeah, Fate Grand Order. I would still say a good option for downloading. Also, another game that I think recently just came out, not related to Fate. Ni no Kuni. I hear that's a Crossworlds or something like that. I hear that just came out, and
did that come out?
Yeah, I think that just came out.
I know nothing about it.
It's something that exists, and you guys can go play it if you want.
I have seen the artwork for it. I do not know what it is about.
Ni no Kuni?
Yeah.
It's like it was a video game series, but level 5. They kind of collaborated with Studio Ghibli in the beginning, but then eventually.
Right, yeah. Isn't that the one where it's saying it's like playing a Ghibli movie?
Yeah. It is.
I didn't know. I didn't know that was real. I thought that was just another BS like mobile game scam.
I find
because I saw ads for it on Twitter.
I mean, I don't know like what the payment system is like inside, so I can't say for sure if it's a scam or anything like that. But it is made by the same people who did the other 2 games. I know it takes place after the second game. And just in general, from my experience, I find that Japanese made, whatever the heck you want to call them, MOBAs or whatever. I find that Japanese phone games are surprisingly, very generous in comparison to something like a Chinese mobile game.
Are you talking from experience?
Maybe. There's this one dress-up game that I really love. There's this one dress-up game that I really love, and I'm still playing it. And I have probably I have been sucked into spending money on it because it's really hard to get clothing. It's really hard to get clothing.
It's hard to get clothing in a dress-up game.
Yes. Because of the
That's like saying it's hard to get bullets in a Call of Duty
because of the drop rates, because you have to spend so much, like gems. Like I am very frugal with it. I try my best. Like if I'm gonna spend money, I wait until there's like 2 things running coherently, so I get like bonus the stuff for spending, like the money that I did. So, it's still very annoying. It's still very annoying that in order to get these things, there is a lot of free things, but they're not good. Okay, so if I want to be able to compete in the thing, in the fashion shows, I need to get the. Anyway, it's completely unrelated. Anyway, Fate Grand Order, however, is a very generous mobile game. And you really do not need to spend money on it unless you want to support them. I assume that all the funds of the people who have spent money on this game is why we had so many animes come out. Because as soon as we were done in the first year of Fate Grand Order, they announced a shit ton of anime, and all that stuff got animated.
I'm just saying, like, as soon as I stopped playing the game, suddenly the anime announcements dried up.
Yeah. Oh, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that's what's going on in Fate Grand Order. A lot of stuff still happening. I want to say the Lost Belt may be like the last thing they do, but I do not know with Natsu. They may keep this going, but I do think they think that Fate Grand Order is old at this point, and because by their standards, Fate Grand Order was archaic to begin with when they did it in comparison to other mobile games. They're like, but if people still like it, you know, I guess it's
The
fine.
Japanese version was archaic in comparison to the English version.
Yeah. So
Oh, I've got a good comparison. It's like playing Final Fantasy 11.
Oh, right. It's like playing Final Fantasy 11 when Final Fantasy. I mean, I don't think. Okay.
It's fun, and there's depth to it, but you gotta put the work in.
Yeah, you do have to put the work in. Like, it's a complete difference. Like, you definitely feel like this is definitely a game from 10 years ago when you're playing Final Fantasy 11. Mostly because maybe we are just too used to things getting handed to us. I mean, I don't think it needs to be Final Fantasy 11 hard, but I do think that like games and stuff need to bring back some complexity to them. I
don't think having the map bound to a key is handing us something.
Yeah, no, that's completely different. Like definitely not Final Fantasy 11 hard, but I was like thinking about video games in general the other day, and I was talking about my brother about it. I hate how, like, for example, Fire Emblem holds people's hands way too much these days. I think casual mode isn't a good thing because I think they're not learning how to play the game with casual mode.
So you're the one who was writing those articles about Sekiro having a casual mode.
Well, this is completely different. This is a tactical RPG compared to a reflex RPG. There is no crazy hard skill needed to play a tactical RPG other than your brain to try to figure out where to move your characters. And
Jared, you're asking a lot of people.
I'm saying that because of casual mode and the fact that you can get your characters back after they die in casual mode means that people aren't thinking, and we need people to think, Azure. We need people to think. They need to think, and I think that's one of the main problems. And in a lot, people just throw all their units in, and they'll be like, it's okay. It'll be back after the thing is.
So what you're saying, Jerry, is we can fix all the problems in society if we just take out the casual mode from Fire Emblem.
Maybe. It might help.
Who knows? We haven't tried it.
It might help. I'm just saying. Not that people play Fire Emblem as much as I think they do, but
I've got 3 houses. I haven't touched it since I bought it. I'm gonna play it at some point, but then someone introduced me to Final Fantasy XIV.
I'm sorry!
And it has been dominating my time!
I'm sorry! Fire Emblem's a really good game, though. You should play it. Although I'm really mad. The sequel to Three Houses is a Heroes game. And so I'm mad. And I'm like, I don't play my tactical RPGs to have a hack and slash thing. And I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want a sequel and a hack and slash version. Persona. Yeah. I mean, I'm more forgiving of Persona because, you know.
Well, that's because their sequels include dance games.
Yeah, there's dance games
and chibi RPGs.
Yeah. But you know, but the thing is that Fire Emblem is like a very, very tactical game. Like Persona, that's a different, like, it's turn-based and it's got some tactics to it, but it's not like that's ingrained completely into its like whole thing. Like, Fire Emblem, that's tactics is the only thing it is. It's all tactics. Everything you do is for tactics. And if you characters live or die, it's up to you to be a brave. Anyway, why am I ranting about Fire Emblem? I thought we were talking about Fate.
I thought we were talking about tactics.
I thought we were talking about... I don't know. This is why we shouldn't be allowed to run a podcast.
If we did run a podcast, we'd have to call it The Tangent.
Mm-hmm. Alright. What else new happened in the time since we've last talked about Type Moon stuff? A lot. New characters. I hear they recently added their first I think it was either Thailand or Vietnamese servants they've recently added. So that was
Ho Chi Minh?
They were twins. So interesting.
Ho Minh and Chi Minh? Is that racist? That might be racist.
That might be a little racist, Azure. Well, it was nice knowing you. You're about to be canceled by everyone.
Joke's on them. I have no presence online.
So let's see. What series can I say? Oh, Carnival Phantasm got its sequel, finally. But of course it is only with the Fate characters. So everyone's like, man, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Fate characters, specifically Grand Order Fate characters, which is kind of rude.
Well, I mean, it's like, the original Carnival Phantasm was taken over by Fate in the end anyway.
Mm-hmm.
There were some episodes where they didn't even have anything from Tsukahime.
Yeah. Fate Extra, Fate Grand Order, Fate Apocrypha. I guess we can now finally say and cement a stamp on it. Fate Apocrypha, definitely worst series in all of Fate. But then again, I will give it a somewhat of a pass because, you know, I want to say Fate Apocrypha was probably the first...
There are a lot of guys who are into Futa who are going to be pissed off at you for saying that.
I want to say it was like their first spin-off, not by Natsu, not a connector to the original series. So, you know, it was what it was. They have better authors now, and if I had to say, is its true successor, Fate Strange Fake, which was also a fake concept at one time, which is now real. Basically, what we've learned over the years is if Type Moon ever does an April Fool's thing, it'll be real years down the line.
Give it time.
Yep, give it time and it will become real.
That's not always a good thing.
It is not. So Fate Strange Fake, that is one that may interest everybody because it is the same author as Dururara and Bakuno, right? That's the same author, I think. Yep. All right. So this person is specifically talented to write things with large casts of characters and
very eccentric characters.
A large cast of eccentric characters also taking place in America. I mean, what?
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And also something taking place in America. This person is like the person to get to write this series. And it seems like they want to animate this series, but I think after Durarara second season, the author is not allowing it to happen until the series is complete. So
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's like we're not talking about what they did to Isaiah.
yeah, probably. I don't know. I just know nobody liked the second season of Dead.
No, I don't think it was the second season. It was the final season they did because they did several seasons of Durarara.
Mm.
It was the final season because that was the anime only. That
Ah.
was like the anime original season.
But basically, I think it also has to do with that since Fate is not their own um, series, also in general, also because Durarara was a train wreck. They're like, I'm not letting you animate this until it's done. Do you know what would happen if this is get animated and it's bad? People will come after me, man.
Mm-hmm. They're still yelling at me to do a second season of Bakudo. I don't even have any control over that.
Pretty much.
We need a second season of Bakudo.
I mean, I think that ship has sailed, Azure. I don't think people remember what Bakudo is unless
Spice and Wolf is getting a third season. There is no such thing as too late now.
I don't think Spice and Wolf should have had a second season. There, I'll say it. They're going for the bottom of the barrel right now.
What? You don't want to see Lawrence impregnate a wolf?
No, I don't. I don't want to see him impregnate the wolf. I don't want to see the sad thing at the end because he's dead. And then, oh wait, I'm sorry, I'm spoiling the series.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I think he died before the kid was born.
You're making it worse.
Yeah, Spice and Wolf didn't end happily, unless you want to know. Because
you're saying the story between the human and the immortal goddess didn't end well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like most stories, it didn't end well. No, I don't think Spice and Wolf should have had a third season. There, I'll say it. But I guess for everybody who likes that kind of stuff, good for you, I guess.
Huh. I mean, a lot of people, I have to imagine, are just there for the naked wolf girl.
Probably. I think it's the only thing they're there for. But yeah.
I think there are some people there for the economics.
Like they understand how economics works. Trust me, I've been there. I've tried to explain it. Nobody understands it.
I think we should do what my brother once suggested when he was a kid. Because everyone is upset by the economy, we should just get rid of the economy.
That's not how economies work.
That's what we tried to explain to him. But he said he didn't care.
That's not how economies work. We live in a society.
Yeah, that's bad too. Let's get rid of society.
Get rid of society. I think I've covered
Return to monkey.
Return to monkey. I think we've covered everything that I know that's been going on in the Fate franchise. Anyway, this is one of our shorter style streams anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, now we can talk about our rebranding for TMI, because like I said, TMI is now going to be called Type Moon Information Deep Space DS, because or Deep Space Nine. I don't know. Something stupid.
Because I'll be giving my reviews on Star Trek in the second half.
Yeah, something stupid. Because I feel like the naming scheme needs to match every single series that has happened. Because when you look at the full titles of things, you're like, what the fuck were they thinking?
There's gotta be some kind of, like, random word generator we could use.
Yeah, let's find a random word generator and see what happens. What our subtitles should be for the rebranding of Type Moon Information.
Type Moon Information, Monster Black America. Part 7. The Reckoning.
The Reckoning. Yeah, something like that. So basically I want to start up again doing real TMI segments. Azure can keep doing his thing where he has fun with the slideshow in the back. I can't guarantee the slideshow will have useful information on it, but it will be there.
I am given way too much power in this segment.
Yeah. I don't know.
I could end Cherry's streaming career with a single pitch.
It's true. I mean, I don't know if I want to retread the timeline because the timeline has become even more fuckery since I've last been there. But
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
wobbly wobbly woobly woobly. I don't know if I want to revisit it, but I probably will. I don't know for sure exactly what I'll cover next time. Maybe we should just cover Arturia again and just go back to basics. Start all over. We've been absent for too long. We need to start all over. I mean, there are like several things about Arturia we need to recover because of Grand Order
Can we
anyway.
Can we talk about Arturia Caster?
Yeah, we could talk about Arturia Caster. We'll talk about the Arturias. We'll talk about the MILF mommy too of Arturia.
Yeah, that should be our next segment, is differentiating the Artorias.
Yep, differentiating the Arturias. That'll probably be next week's thing.
When you collect all the variants, it's like getting Exodia. You automatically win.
Yep, you do. She's got a thing for almost every class now, so pretty much do. All right, so we're gonna wrap up here. You're probably wondering why the short stream, because this is what happens. Also, my voice is still in recovery. I still probably sound really bad. I hear it. Other people probably don't, but I hear it. I'm congested like crazy. So I still got the sniffles. I still sound bad.
Yeah, you sound fine to me.
And this was more like a recap to see what was going on in the Fae franchise, and I guess more to dip my toes, to get myself back in the saddle, because I just love doing this, thing. I like doing TMI. I like talking about Fate. I like talking about history, and I feel like I've been away from this for too long, and I want to get back into it. So this is to say hi. We're back. We're going to be doing TMI again, with a subtitle now, so that we're not the same as we were before, but we are going to do exactly everything the same as we did before.
TMI: The Rise of Skywalker.
TMI: The Rise of Skywalker. Pretty much.
Since apparently we'll be retreading Saber next week.
We will. We'll be retreading a Saber, and that is also relevant because she does have a Star Wars form. She has several Star Wars forms.
She could have a Jedi Sith duel with herself.
She can. And it's hilarious.
Which I know at one point I want to do like a Star Wars lore video on stream. That'll probably be on my channel though.
Yeah. And I'll probably be the confused commentator. Also I'll take Azure's place in that thing.
Yes.
So yeah.
Just be ready with pictures of the Blue Man Group.
I'll do my best. So yeah. So that's something to look forward into the coming weeks. Fridays will be TMI Fridays. And we will restart this. Hopefully there will be collabs down the line. I do have one person who does want to show up. However, she is on break right now. So I think I still have a month or two before she comes back, and then we can collab with her to do whatever she wants to talk about. I hope to have more collab people though, because I like to hear about other people's opinions on stuff. It's not just me. I don't live in a bubble. You shouldn't live in a bubble too. Guys, stop believing what everyone tells you.
Get out of the bathtub.
Get out of the bathtub.
Stop using soap. This message brought to you by Cherry Pyara. Stop using soap.
Yeah, you're addicted to it. If you're not clean yet, you're addicted to it, alright? Get out.
We're all filthy apes. It doesn't matter how clean you get. Nothing's ever gonna change that.
Alright, we're gonna raid Mitchie, guys. Be prepared for whatever you see, though, on Mitchie's channel. She is known to be censored on Twitter constantly, all the time. I mean, with a name like 69 Mitchie, what do you expect?
69 is just a number.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for sticking around. Sorry it was really short, but I can't really go for long right now.
And
Anyway,
that's how Cherry died.
yeah. Bye.
Sayonara, everyone.
And stream.